last night on MasterChef Australia.
Nick's got something to tell us.
A shock announcement.
I have to go home to my wife.
He has to follow his heart.
Plus, our chef's creative limits were pushed in the invention test.
Rent, yours was the best dish of the day.
Absolutely brilliant.
Tonight, the bottom three face off.
You're about to face the pressure test.
And for one of them, elimination.
I may be going home today.
Little word of advice, you need to move.
I just hope that I've done enough, or one of those two's done worse than me.
If you were in my kitchen, I think you would have gone by now.
At stake for the winner, the chance to work alongside Australia's culinary elite, a book deal, and $100,000 to make their dreams reality.
Elimination day. I'm in the bottom three. I may be going home.
How are you, sweetheart?
Why did you open that curtain so early?
So, how are you feeling about today, mate?
Calm. I have to remain calm. Otherwise, I'll just go to mess.
Be yourself today and just keep you calm. And if you look pretty calm...
Back to classics and basics.
Yeah. Mate, you can do it. We've all seen you do it.
Chris has won the Mystery Box Challenge out of a choice of rabbit, octopus and chocolate. Chris chooses rabbit.
They are crucifying these
It's a
rabbits.
massacre, isn't it?
A lot of you'd never cooked rabbit before, and it was fantastic to see you step up to the plate and address that rabbit and do some really interesting stuff with it.
Aaron, Julie, Linda. It was a tough gig today, wasn't it? But you've got to ask yourself how you're going to make it through to the next round.
Tomorrow, all three of you have a chance to redeem yourself, but one of you will go home.
Yesterday, I knew I'd be in this position. Stuffed my dish right from the start. I knew it was coming. I wasn't going home over a rabbit.
Well, it's become evident that he just can't cook. He knows a lot, but he can't cook. And I think he'll go home. Julie's a good cook. Yes, she is.
I want that chance just to show, look, this is my food, this is what I can actually do. I just have to get the right challenge and stop freezing up in my head and just cook like I would at home.
It is gut-wrenching being in the bottom three. I took too many risks and it backfired on me. I have to make sure I bring out what I'm really good at. Oh, packed everything, Julie. Just about.
Being in the bottom three means that this experience and that opportunity might be over for me. I would really be disappointed to go home after cooking like I did yesterday, because it was horrible. When people ask me to describe myself, probably the first word I use is a mum. I think I was a mum before I even had kids. My dream, I suppose, my vision, I'd love to have a little restaurant that people come to. But I'd have to say that my ultimate goal in food would be to reach as many people as I can with that love and that giving that cooking for people brings.
I want to really see if I can follow a career in the food industry. I have this little dream. I would love to be the next female Jamie Oliver, inspiring others to cook and educating them about how important good food is. I think I could change people's lives with cooking.
My time's not done yet. I haven't come and shown what I can really do. I'm at my second year of business at Victoria University. The time is right to throw business out the window and pursue my passion for cooking. I'm a self-taught amateur chef, and these books, they're my teachers. Molecular gastronomy is my Bible. This is where the future of fine dining cuisine is headed. Voila. My dream is to have a 3-chef hat restaurant with my name at the top, with the molecular gastronomy theme, with the additional tag of being the best in the country.
I hope that all 3 of us perform at our absolute best today. Moment of truth, eh?
Yeah, moment.
You all right?
Yeah, of course.
A bit nervous.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you won't ever come across again. As we walk into the MasterChef kitchen, I see everyone looking from above, 3 kitchens in front of me, ready to go. And all I can think is, keep it simple, Linda, keep it simple.
There's multiple people in the house that I think should be facing elimination instead of me. I'm tired of being on the bottom. I want to just ace this challenge and continue on in the competition.
Linda, Julie and Aaron, welcome back to the kitchen. The 3 of you were the worst performers in yesterday's invention test. So today, you'll have to fight to keep your place in this competition. Now, this really is your final chance to prove you are worthy of a shot at the MasterChef title. Today, you're about to face the pressure test. The person who performs the worst will be going home immediately. This is a defining moment for each of you.
It's a serious competition that will potentially change the winner's life in ways that none of us can even fathom nor imagine.
So the pressure test, it's really going to put you out of your comfort zone. This is what this challenge is all about. It's like a real kitchen. You want to feel the pressure, you want to feel the stress, you want to feel the butterflies in your tummy. It's what a real kitchen's like, it's what service is like, and you've got to use that to your advantage. You've got to embrace it, take it on, enjoy it. We love it. You're going to be cooking one recipe. You're all cooking the same thing. You have 45 minutes to cook that recipe. And it's something we've chosen because it's tricky, it's technical, and it seems on the face of it that it's really quite easy. But believe me, it's not.
I'm determined not to lose this challenge, and I'm ready to find out what it is.
The pressure is definitely building.
Guys, it's a high-risk dish. I've seen this one go wrong many times. And the dish is a Tarte Tatin. It's a classic French upside-down caramelized apple tart. And it can go wrong right up to the last minute.
I've never made a Tarte Tatin in my life. I've actually never eaten a Tarte Tatin in my life.
Respect the dish, because it is the foundation to a lot of pastry chefs out there. It's a beautiful dish when it's done right. Understand your fruit, being apple, check it. Understand that temperature is extremely important when you cook it. Be very careful you don't burn the sugar, because that can just take the dish to death.
I'm going to be looking for the little bit of acidity from the fruit. I'm going to look for a tiny bit of caramelization around the edge of the pan. When I cut it, I'm listening to the sound of the crunch from the pastry. Already my mouth is starting to water at that idea. If the caramel is burny, if you burnt the fruit, all that stuff is going to show up on the plate, and we're going to look at it and we're going to know, even before we've tasted it, that you've missed the mark. That's why this is such a high-pressure test.
It's terrible, that feeling inside you that you could be going home, and it all depends on that Tarte Tatin.
Linda, Julie, Aaron, you'll be given a recipe, ingredients, 45 minutes to cook, as well as the 10 minutes resting time. I wish you all the best of luck. It's time to head to your stations.
Good luck, guys.
Hits me like a bit of a blow that I may be going home today.
You have 45 minutes. When I call time, You must take your Tarte Tatin out of the oven. You have 10 minutes to rest your apple tart. Whoever cooks the worst Tarte Tatin goes home. Your time starts now.
There are only a few ingredients to manage, so I decide to just work through the recipe in a methodical way.
First, cut the apples to fit into the Tarte Tatin.
Thank God it's not us. Part of the pressure cooker is having, you know, the rest of the group watching you from above, from the gallery.
So you peel your apple, chop it in quarters, and then take out the core while on the angle, so out comes the core. It's a really complicated and technical dish to pull off, and to pull it off in 45 minutes puts you under pressure. The most important thing that I have to remember is follow the recipe to the T. Don't vary it, don't move it, don't do anything other than what the hell's on that recipe, and I'll be fine.
I have never cooked one before, and I think that with a recipe I'll have a much better chance of producing something edible.
Second, roll out your pastry to fit into the pan.
My main concern at this point in time is worrying about the pastry cooking. It needs, 20-25 minutes minimum after I've given myself 10 minutes of caramelising cooking my apples.
Third, create your caramel.
Melting your butter, dumping your caster sugar on top of it, just shaking it around the pan for a bit until it gets this beautiful rich caramel.
And make sure it does not go black.
Right, guys, listen up, yeah? You've already used up 15 minutes, so by now, really, your apples need to be going into the pan and you need to get your Tarte Tatin in the oven so it cooks in time. Little word of advice, you need to move.
I'm trying hard to put the heat on as low as I can, but it's blowing out, and I nearly ruined my caramel.
You feeling confident, Julie?
Not really.
So what are you looking for in your caramel? What are you looking for there?
To be golden brown, and then when the apples go in, I want it to sort of foam up.
I think there's a risk there that it's really going to burn, so you might want to consider stirring it. It's up to you. So what does it say in the recipe at this stage, mate, to do with the butter and the sugar?
Shake it, don't stir. Unless it sticks to the bottom like that, just grab a whisk from
don't keep lifting the pan up, though, It's a risk because you lose the heat.
The apple and caramel part is probably the most important part of the tatin. If you stuff the apples, it destroys the rest of the dish.
Some of your apples look very thin, don't they? What have you done there, Linda?
I'm trying to get them as even as possible so each apple cooks, and trying to make sure that there isn't any space left over because we don't want to see the pastry underneath.
Yeah, but when they cook, they'll shrink, won't they? So you've got to bear that in mind when you lay them in.
Linda was struggling really obviously. I thought because she was following a recipe that she would not waste time on doing anything that was too fiddly, which is what she tends to do.
My apples look slightly thin, but I was trying to make sure they fit into the pan all aligned together. I started panicking slightly. I had only caramelized my apples for 2 minutes, not 10 minutes, and was freaking out.
Cook the apples in the caramel so they're golden, soft, and reduced down in size a bit. Getting your puff pastry, flopping on top, throwing it in the oven, pulling it out 25 minutes later to a beautiful Tarte Tatin.
You need to be thinking about putting it in the oven in the next 5 minutes, otherwise there's a risk that your pastry's not going to cook.
Now there's about 26 minutes left to go, and I have to get it in the oven so that it's in for 25 minutes, because that's what the recipe tells me. My main concern is that I didn't cook the apples on the stovetop for as long as I was supposed to, and I just have everything crossed that they're going to cook in that oven.
Julie's tart goes into the oven first, pretty much spot on with her timing. I think she was 24 or 25 minutes to go. Second in was Linda.
under the time pressure, I chucked that pastry into the pan, didn't arrange it nicely, threw it in the oven.
She put it straight on the top shelf, which I thought was a really strange thing to do. You should put that in the middle shelf. I think she knows what she's doing, so I was confident she'd be all right.
I forgot to prick the pastry. I opened the oven and I quickly pricked it again. Gary and George saw me pricking it.
Did it say dock it, did it? Or were you just docking it?
It did say to.
It did say to dock it? You forgot?
You run against the clock. The 25-minute timeline's gone, and the apples haven't had enough time to cook, so I leave them in the pan cooking by themselves for a bit longer. And I'm thinking, well, I've got to put my oven up a bit hotter just to speed up the process. And my puff pastry had actually stuck to my board. I'd cut it and left it too long. I had to sort of peel it and stretch it and then recut it to fit the pan. At the pan, I fold in my Tarte Tatin, put it, pinching the edges, folding it around the apples, and then bang in the oven. Up until that point in time when the dish is in the oven, I just don't stop. I start whipping my cream. I'm nervous as anything. I'm just hoping to God I cook this pastry because I've done everything pretty well up to this point. I'm just hoping the pastry cooks.
I could see that the pastry was going brown quite quickly and there was still quite a long time on the clock. I should have turned it down then, but I questioned myself because the recipe says 220, which is a really hot oven.
I have no idea how this is going to come out because I've never made one before, and I'm feeling extremely nervous because if I've stuffed it up, I'm going home.
I had put my dish on the top rack and it was too high. So the pastry started browning too quickly. If it was there for another 20 minutes, it would have been charcoal black.
Linda's is not looking very good at all.
She's cut the apple.
It's too thin. As it says very clearly in the recipe, cut the apples into quarters, remove the core, and then layer into the caramel. And that's really not that complicated.
No, Julie's done really well. See what comes out of the oven.
Sound caramel, nice reddish colour. The apples have gone in. She didn't fuss around too much.
Yep. Aaron claims he's done Tarte Tatin before.
He didn't look that confident, did he?
No.
He's fiddling about.
Yeah, a lot of
fiddling about with the caramel.
Yeah, that's right.
Honestly, when it's flipped out, I don't think it's going to look that great, but it might taste nice. Okay, guys, you've got 5 minutes left on the clock. Use your time wisely. Don't panic and take it out of the oven if it doesn't need to. But of course, if you need to take it out of the oven, if you think it's cooking too fast, too long, then please do.
I want to use all the time I'm given to make sure that my apples are cooked all the way through.
Tarte Tatin, you've got to shake it in the oven, otherwise it'll caramelise and burn on the top of your tart, or it'll stick and it won't fall out. So I'm looking at it. Okay, 5 minutes. Shake, shake, shake. Another 5 minutes. Shake, shake, shake. And I'm just constantly checking it, making sure it's cooked, making sure the sides are tucked underneath. And I'm probably fiddling with it a bit too much.
I am not confident at all. My life is pretty much hanging on this Tarte Tatin cooking right now in the oven. And all I can do is pray and hope it comes out.
I spent quite a lot of time peering in the oven door because I don't know if it's going to come out of the pan and I don't know if the apples are going to be cooked.
I look at my Tarte Tatin in the oven and I see it hasn't risen evenly and it has some burnt bits on it. So I quickly take it out and I start scraping off some of the dark bits.
I'm really focused on getting this right, and if I stuff this, I'm out of here. So I'm leaving it, I'm looking, maybe I should pull it out, and I'm sort of starting to second guess myself. I thought, bugger it, I pulled it out. I mean, I know that it does caramelise and burn a bit around the edges.
For Tarte Tatin in 45 minutes, there's no easy challenge. I just hope that I've done enough, or one of those two's done worse than.
I pull the pan out of the oven. It didn't look that dark in the oven, under the oven light. When I brought it out into the actual light of the kitchen, it looked a lot darker.
You now have 10 minutes for your Tarte Tatin to rest. And hopefully you'll be able to turn that out successfully onto your plates. When it's rested for 10 minutes, you should be able to put your hand on the top of the tart and you should be able to spin it round. This is a really important part of the whole process. If it doesn't move, it's stuck.
The waiting game is the worst part because not only are you waiting to see how your dish went, you're waiting to be told who's going home.
All that's left during the 10-minute resting time is plating up. I think it's the last thing that can go wrong. I can't wait actually for the 10 minutes to be up to find out whether or not it looks good.
That looks fantastic.
It's all right,
Yours is the lightest out of all of ours.
How's yours, darling?
Mine was a bit too dark. How did you cook your apples?
I put them in the pan, spread them.
Did you cut them thinly or?
Yeah, no, they're all even though. So, like, one was a bit thicker, so I cut it up.
As soon as I saw Julie's beautiful Tarte Tatin and Aaron has perfect apples, I was starting to doubt myself.
Aaron's asking us at the end of the challenge whether or not the pastry's twisting. And I say to him, I'm not touching mine until 10 minutes is up.
Was yours spinning? Yeah, good. Yeah, mine's spinning. Mine's doing 360s.
I'm nervous, I just want to follow the instructions. I put my hand on it and gently twist it in the pan. I'm so relieved the pastry's twisting.
Your 10 minutes resting time is now up. This is extremely crucial.
I've got to invert this dessert onto a plate. So I put the plate on top of the pan.
This is the moment where it could all go wrong. So be very careful.
All I can think about is, will it pop out and fall off the plate perfectly?
I'm just really focused on getting this right.
So I put the plate on top of the pan. And I flip it. And I'm just waiting for extra weight to fall onto the plate. And I lifted the pan and everything had come down onto the plate. Oh, the relief, the relief.
Very quick motion, flip. The tartine comes straight out off the top, so it's good, it's cooked really well. One of the apples sort of falls out, but I put that back in. And then using my spatula, I take it off the plate and plate it neatly onto the main plate.
All I can think about is those few seconds. Will it pop out and fall off the plate perfectly? It looked terrible. It had few shriveled apples on it. The pastry was just coming out of the ends and I went, oh my God, I am screwed.
The judges will now taste your dishes one by one.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing to be the first dish tasted by the judges. The stakes on this are really high.
Julie, how do you think you went?
I'm not quite sure how they're actually supposed to look. So I'm not sure how close that is to a good one.
You happy with the result?
There are a few things I would do differently if I was going to do it again. I would have done the caramel sauce on a lower heat and I would have turned the oven down a bit sooner so the pastry wasn't quite so dark.
Thanks very much. You have to leave us to taste and deliberate.
Thank you.
And just listen to that. It makes a fantastic crispy sound of all those layers of pastry.
Apples are soft, pastry's crisp.
I think it could have had a little bit more acid.
to push that caramel anymore because I think it's a little bit too close to being bitter. But certainly the apple flavour is very true, and she's got some fantastic lift in the puff.
When we're waiting in the room, I'm feeling a little bit anxious someone's going to be eliminated from the competition.
My whole cooking life here at MasterChef depends on that one tatin.
So, Linda, how did you go?
I made a few mistakes. I should have tried to put more apples.
Did you burn the pastry?
It was burnt in a few little spots, so I tried to scrape that off, but I think it was a bit too late. So, in terms of a Tarte Tatin, it's not a good effort.
Why are you so upset?
The proof is in the taste of the pudding. It just has to taste great, and I think that's the most important thing, the thing that I've been overlooking the most in this competition.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. All I could think about was the fact that someone was going to be eliminated.
She's definitely had problems. The top of the pastry's burnt, and yet I've got a raw, undercooked piece of pastry by the apple.
The apples do look a lot more overcooked. And I think that's due to the way they were cut.
I'm not so sure if it's actually got the same bitterness. Julie's had that little bit of bitterness, and I don't actually think that's quite as bitter.
I'm up against two amazing cooks. It is extremely important for me to get through this challenge.
I'm feeling pretty confident. The tartan has got nice colour on it. I'm hoping that it's cooked though, the pastry's cooked.
Out of the three, where do you think yours stacks up?
It's up there. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I used all my apples.
Did you burn the pastry?
Yeah, it's a little bit overcooked. Probably a bit around the sides and on the top.
You burnt the pastry?
I wouldn't say, oh, yeah, if it's burnt, it's burnt.
I don't know, I'm asking you. I'm going to have a look in a minute. Did you burn the pastry?
It's over brown on the bottom, yeah.
You didn't get the sudden urge to blend it up and turn it into a foam?
No.
No, spherified?
That's not me. You know, I love that food. It has been me, yeah. You know, that's good food. But, you know, last night I went home and I thought a lot about food. I woke up this morning with a different mentality about the whole competition, and I just, I want to cook, like, good food. I'm not a chef.
Okay, Aaron. Thanks very much.
The hardest part is having the dish judged and knowing that my fate rests on this that I've just done, and there's nothing I can do to change it.
Great sound.
Yeah. He's really overcooked the pastry. He's cooked the apples really well. The caramel is a touch bitter, maybe just a little bit too far.
It's got a definite zing to it that I quite like.
I just want to peel off the bottom layer of that puff and eat it without it, because it's like that badly burnt bit of toast.
It's spoilt it, really has.
I know that I'm on thin ice with hot blades, and I'm ready for their verdict.
We've got to send somebody home out of this. I think we've still got a few questions to ask, so I think we should get them back in. We've got to send somebody home out of this. I think we've still got a few questions to ask, so I think we should get them back in.
My fate rests on this.
Just want to find out one way or the other.
Today, we have to make an important decision. Now, of course, we'll base that decision on the challenge today, but also we need to take into consideration your efforts in past challenges, and I think that together will help us make the right choice. Julie, you've made some mistakes, you know. in odd challenges, and today's, for example, is no different. It's hard to make a perfect dish. You didn't use all your apples. Why was that?
There was 26 minutes to go and I had to get the pastry on and get it into the oven. I made the decision to get it into the oven rather than try and put more apples in.
Obviously, your cooking would improve doing something like this. I mean, it couldn't help not. I mean, is this ultimately just going to improve your home cooking, or...?
The idea is that what I love to do for my family and my friends, I'd love to be able to do for more people than that.
It must be very hard being away from your family. I mean, do you think you can last the course?
I've truly walked away from everything to be here. So I'm not about to say, you know what, I can't hack it anymore, I'm going home. It's not easy. I didn't expect it to be easy. And I'm going to do it for as long as you'll have me here.
Okay, thank you.
Linda, apple Tarte Tatin today. There was definitely some good flavour there, you know? As much as you gave it a lot of negative when you put it in front of us, we are looking at the Tarte Tatin, but we're also looking at where you've been in your journey here at MasterChef. For us, you're a roller coaster. You know, you take us to these highs with an, amazing dish. I still remember the blueberry rice pudding. I thank you for giving me that memory. But then I got this really bad memory in my head from the rabbit challenge, which was a dish of disaster. It was a disaster dish. It was one of the worst things I tasted.
Really let yourself down on there. That is horrible.
Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Are you understanding the basics?
I've just realised that it's about putting taste and the simple techniques, nailing that, and then progressing to something more advanced. I'm trying to cook dishes that I'd love to cook in 10 years' time.
Thank you, Linda.
Aaron, the taste of burnt pastry is a big issue with someone like a Tarte Tatin because there's nowhere to hide. On the other hand, you manage to get an awful lot of apple on there, which is fantastic. It's a dish. It's about apple. My concern is how comfortable were you cooking that dish as opposed to fiddling around with a little degustation plate?
I was at home doing that. All of my dishes looking back that I've done, I've tried to put someone else on a plate. I have to put my taste on a plate, cook the things that I love.
Why did you come here in the first place?
The background I came from, hospitality is not a shined upon industry. My school education was you either become a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant. For me I love food, I want to become a chef. I had people say, you're not born to cook for other people or to wash dishes, and it's not about that. It's about doing what I love, and to me this is, to enrich my life, to show me what food is.
Thank you.
Julie, Aaron, Linda, today we have to make an important decision, and that is which one of you has to go home.
The challenge is over. What's done is done. What's served is served. There's nothing for it now but to wait for the judge's verdict.
My confidence level is non-existent. My nerves, I can't even feel anything. I'm just numb. I'm really numb.
Julie, you've delivered some good dishes, some great flavours.
Thank you.
Your dish today was lovely. Wasn't perfect, but it was lovely. Linda, George hit the nail on the head. It's a roller coaster. You've done one of the best dishes in the competition so far, and I think you've given us the worst dish. So when we're trying to make our decision, Linda, it makes it hard for us. Your tatin wasn't as bad as you thought it was. Aaron, the gap between your aspirations and your capabilities is huge. And how I get that through to you, how George gets that through to you, I don't know. We don't play with quantum physics before we can add up. Your Tarte Tatin, it wasn't perfect, but the apples were nice, the caramel was good, and your mistake of turning the oven up a little too high is easily corrected. We've had trouble deliberating, but we have made a decision.
One of the three of you could be Australia's first MasterChef. But also, for one of you, that dream and that opportunity is over. Julie, your dish was fantastic. Congratulations. It was a beautiful Tarte Tatin.
Thank you.
Aaron, Linda, we have concerns about both of you, and really, this challenge and those two Tarte Tatins crystallised and provide the tipping point for making the decision of who stays and who goes. The person for whom the dream of becoming Australia's first MasterChef is over is Linda. I'm sorry, Linda. Do continue to cook. You think a way that very few people think about food. You think in a lateral manner. You've got some great humour about the way you cook, and you've got some really great taste ideas as well.
I know today was a big tipping day for me, and look, little mistakes can cost you the competition. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you for bringing us some amazing memories that we'll never forget. I know it's in your heart. I can feel it. Keep doing it.
Whatever you choose to do, it has to be for you. Something that makes you happy, not anybody else, just you.
Thank you.
It's the right advice in life, so I wish you the best. Guys, have you got anything you'd like to say to Linda?
In that house, out of the people who were there, you were one of the most genuine people there. You know, follow your heart, don't give up.
I think you're a really lovely person. I think you're a creative spirit. I know that you're going to be fine. Okay.
Linda, it's time for you to leave the MasterChef kitchen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm taking away a lot of lessons from this experience. I will go back to simple cooking and simple food. At the end of the day, it was my time to go home, and there can only be one MasterChef. It is another experience in my life that I will treasure and I will remember for the rest of my life. And, you know, you just have to build on these experiences. Sometimes a door shuts and another opens.
Okay, guys, on a more positive note, I hope you've learned something from today's challenge. We don't want to see you here next week, do we?
Not at all.
So let's keep our fingers crossed that we don't see you here, and it's time for you to go. Thank you very much.
I've learned that I have to learn how to crawl before I can walk. I'm not a chef. I'm a cook who just loves doing it. And I just now have to take this passion and turn it into a career by doing the smart thing, which is tasting and producing tasty food.
I'm still in the competition. I've dodged a bullet. I'm so relieved, and I'm more determined than ever.
So, guys, what are you thinking?
Back at the house, there's 16 people pretending they were judges, me included.
Who do you think's coming in?
We're waiting to actually see who's been eliminated.
I think Julie's got a very good chance of coming back.
Yeah. I think Julie's safe, definitely.
I think Aaron's done.
He's destroyed every single dish he's cooked. I mean, at least the other two have put up some nice tasting food.
Aaron's in trouble.
In all fairness to Linda, she hit some marks and it came out a bit burnt.
I'm actually hoping that it will be Aaron that gets through, because I actually think Aaron's picking up a lot more than Linda.
Well, the elevator opened and Julie walked out with a huge grin on her face. Then the elevator opened again, and everybody was expecting to see young Linda walk through the door, and it was Aaron.
He gets a welcome back from a lot of people, but myself in particular, I'm shocked to see him, as are a lot of other people in the room.
No, it was Bittersweet, because it was down to the wire with me, Linda.
What did they say?
Everything right back for the whole competition, and today I made the better tart, so that's why I'm here.
They really said it was a flip of a coin between these two guys. And you know what? She smiled and said so graciously and beautifully, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it, and gave us a hug, and off she went.
I gave a lot up to be here in this competition. Sometimes you do have to give up the biggest things in life to find yourself.
Hey, Linda, welcome home. Thank you,
Welcome back, my dear.
How was it? No, it was great. I took too many risks though. This week was absolutely crazy. But I had an amazing experience and met so many wonderful people. And I had to cook rabbit.
Rabbit.
Have you ever had rabbit before?
No.
Very good.
I made it.
Must be properly cooked.
And Linda, guess what's for dinner tonight?
What?
Rabbit.
A rabbit.
Oh my God! It's a rabbit. That's the thing that got me out of this competition. That was my downfall. That rabbit. I'm really committed to food, and it's my passion and something that I will keep on following for a long time to come.
Tomorrow night on MasterChef,
You're about to cook off against one of the finest chefs in the country.
Brent goes head-to-head in a celebrity cook-off.
I am out of my skin about this challenge.
Will the amateur have what it takes to beat the pro at his own signature dish?
I'm cooking better now than I have ever cooked in my life.
At stake, the chance to fast-track to the final week of the competition.
I'm dead, man.
Looks lovely.
But if that's Brent's, he's done a really good job.